Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome all viewers. I'm recording this video to hopefully, inshallah, close a chapter regarding some back and forth between myself and Ali DAWAH. For several months now, I have been publicly slandered, and rather than continue to go back and forth, which I've already tried to limit tremendously, I haven't really done too much back and forth, but I wanted to record this video to just let it be known what has happened so that people who see lies and accusations against me, they understand the context and they don't believe everything that they read or hear. I wanted to at least put the truth out there as my final words regarding the situation. Now, this does not mean I won't address any misrepresentations regarding the religion of Islam, because correcting such misrepresentations is an important part of our religion. And one of the tactics that people use to keep themselves from being corrected is they will bully and slander people and try to make their lives as miserable as possible to keep them from speaking up. So I'm not going to give in regarding the religion. However, I'm talking about personal attacks, personal slanders about me. After you see what I'm about to present in this video, inshallah, you'll understand. So firstly, I want to go back to December 13th, 2021. Our sister in Islam, Millihan, went on the so-called Apostate Prophet's channel. The video is called Interviewing a Female Muslim Convert. Now, we should not be watching or promoting Apostate Prophet's channel. I already have a video up explaining what scholars of Islam say about this topic. And the videos that Fareed Responds made, as well as the debate that Daniel Haqiqatu had, is more than sufficient in conclusively answering Apostate Prophet. But our sister Millihan, she's a new Muslim, she decided to go on his channel. And the reason I'm mentioning her is because the day after her interview, Ali DAWAH went on Twitter and said this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Be just even against yourself." Apus absolutely annihilated this sister. She has no idea what she's talking about. Made not only herself, but Islam look wrong because of her lack of knowledge. So look at these harsh words Ali DAWAH has for our sister Millihan, whose picture he has up on this tweet. He further says, "She got destroyed. I'm sorry. She should never gone on there. Some Muslims just do silly things which make Islam look bad. Most things she said was against Islam." He responds to AP saying, "The only people you can humiliate is new Muslims who are women." So as we can see, these are some really strong words of Ali DAWAH publicly condemning Millihan. And it's not that he addressed anything that happened with knowledge, but rather he just said that AP annihilated her. She has a lack of knowledge. Muslims do silly things that make Islam look bad. And he dismissed her as a new Muslim who is a woman. And all of this happened in December 2021. Fast forward about 2 months later, and now Ali DAWAH decided that he wanted to go on and have a discussion or a debate with the so-called Apostate Prophet. The video on his channel is titled Ali DAWAH vs. Apus. Full debate. Hilarious. Here we have Ali DAWAH being fed grapes. It says Apus broke down and it shows some photoshopped tears coming out of his eyes. The video on Ali DAWAH's channel currently has about 209,000 views, and the video on AP's channel has about 238,000 views. Together, we're talking about almost 500,000 views. Now, there is a very important principle in Islam regarding enjoining good and forbidding evil. Allah tells us in the Quran, "And let there be arising from you a nation inviting to all that is good, enjoining what is right and forbidding what is wrong, and those will be the successful." So there is a general principle according to the religion of Islam that if something reprehensible happens in public, it is a communal obligation upon the Muslims to right the wrong, to rectify, to clarify, to refute this public wrong. When I say it's a communal obligation, what does that mean? It means that if nobody from the community addresses and corrects this reprehensible behavior, then the Muslims as a whole are sinful. However, if some from the community do take on that responsibility, then that suffices, and the Muslim community is no longer considered sinful. So after Ali DAWAH's absolutely egregious behavior that stemmed from flawed foundational principles, rather than being just even against yourself, Ali DAWAH and his friends were gloating about his performance, praising what he did, encouraging each other to make highlight reels, which is clearly misrepresenting Islam publicly in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So as a result, Abdul Rahman of Knowledge North and I were discussing our thoughts. And when we're faced with something like this that appears to be a communal obligation to correct, we had a decision to make. Should we say something? Should we speak up? And we ultimately decided that yes, we absolutely should say something about this. So we recorded a video entitled Debate Disaster, Ali DAWAH vs. Apostate Prophet Reaction. That video was a knowledge-based response. I never said anything like AP absolutely annihilated him, like he said about Sister Millihan. On the contrary, I made it clear that AP didn't come with anything. But we needed to publicly clarify how Islam was being publicly misrepresented. But how did Ali Dawah react? He has been non-stop slandering me ever since, calling me an opportunistic backstabber. Why? Is it because I criticized him? No, it's because I publicly criticized him. And this is where things get really dangerous, because public criticism is not only from the religion, but in certain cases, it is an obligatory part of our religion. So here we have Ali Dawah painting something that is actually from Islam as being treacherous. Not to mention it's something that he himself regularly engages in. What I'm going to show next is just a fraction of the slander he's been throwing at me for months. He tweets, "Can you imagine I go live Friday, he films and edits Saturday, and first thing Sunday morning, his backstabbing video is public? LOL, he has my number and all his points were baseless. They even defended APUS. At Sajid Lippum, #backstabber. And he posts this YouTube video with a thumbnail, backstabber or well-wisher, where Muhammad Hijab continues the slander. I respond basically saying, this is not personal, this has to do with the religion, and I expose the fact that people use these bullying tactics to keep people quiet, when they publicly have egregious behavior that deserves to be corrected. Muhammad Hijab responds saying that I have obsessive behavior. So of course, this back and forth is garnering a lot of attention, and it eventually leads to Sheikh Uthman making a statement about it during a live stream. And then that statement of his is isolated, it's turned into its own clip, it's sensationalized. And even though Sheikh Uthman did not want them to do this and asked them to take it down, they didn't take it down, it's still up, it has over 200,000 views, but it created this new narrative that Muhammad Hijab, Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk, and Ali Dawah, they want to reconcile. But Sajid, he's against reconciliation. And this is the narrative that is still being pushed, which is a very common tactic that people use when they are refuted. Don't believe me? Ask Daniel Haqiqatju. I've had several conversations with him about this, because when you publicly enjoin good and forbid evil, and you publicly correct or warn against the mistakes of other Muslims in public, there are all types of tactics they'll use to reconcile. But what does reconcile mean? To many people, reconcile means don't say anything about my mistakes. Whatever mistakes that I publicly make, you can come to me privately, and bam, problem solved. A lot of you probably wouldn't even believe the extent to which people will go to try to get other people to stop refuting their falsehood. That's done in public. And these tactics seem to work for a lot of people. But there's two things to keep in mind here. Number one, you don't have to reach out to somebody privately when they do something publicly. And number two, unfortunately, oftentimes there is this pattern of behavior where private advice doesn't work with certain individuals. Of course, we would all prefer to reach out to somebody privately and then they right all of the wrongs. What people don't seem to understand is that happens all the time. People give private advice all the time, but certain individuals never change. Here in this tweet, Ali Dawah admits that over 15 people gave him private advice. So this is very important to internalize. Over 15 people privately told him how problematic he was during that debate. But he doesn't have a problem with those people. Why? Because they did it privately. Meaning what? The issue here is with public criticism of public behavior. Which is what? Which is from Islam. Not only that, but even if somebody wanted to argue, well, privately speaking to him would allow him to save face and also publicly correct his wrongs himself. However, he still didn't. The debate is still up on his channel. The tweets of him gloating about his performance is still up on Twitter. He has repeatedly belittled his performance as just being a little cringe. And it wasn't until the public criticism that Ali Dawah or any of his friends even began to publicly acknowledge some of the problems with his debate. And this in fact shows us the wisdom why public criticism is important. Yet there are people out there that think if you just talk to people privately, everything is going to be solved. People will right all the wrongs and everyone will be the best of friends. Well, there is a decision to make. You can be the best of friends. Just ignore their public wrongdoings and don't ever publicly correct them. Then you guys can be great friends. But unfortunately, you're in danger of sacrificing an obligation in your religion. And I seek refuge in Allah from prioritizing personal individuals above the religion, above Allah. So without us ever discussing what reconciliation actually means or what it consists of, for over 6 months, Ali Dawah has this pinned to his Twitter account. I believe it's a sign of insincerity that he refuses to reconcile with us, and here's why. But we left off with both Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab lying and slandering me regarding the topic of YouTube ads. Ali Dawah was on Twitter acting like he had some secret dialogue between us, where he would expose me as some sort of a hypocrite when it comes to YouTube ads. So I gave him permission to show the conversation. However, he never did, which I think was good for his sake. So I put out a video called The Muslim YouTube Industry Exposed, and I didn't mention Ali Dawah or Muhammad Hijab, and it seemed like perhaps we would all just move on. But just a few weeks later, there was a video posted entitled, Slovak Muslim Responding to Smile to Jannah and His Facts About Russia vs. Ukraine War. Now this video was posted on March 4th, 2022. And just to show you how much this topic actually meant to us, back in January, Abdulrahman of Knowledge North and myself, we posted a video entitled Russia Invading Ukraine, the Muslim Region, where we talked about this region from a Dawah perspective. So I really appreciated this video and I found it beneficial. Thus, I left a comment saying, jazakumAllahukhairan, brother. It's important for us to hear the perspective of people like yourself in that region. May Allah protect you. But to my surprise, Ali Dawah comes out of nowhere and says, Assalamu alaikum. Anyone that opposes me, Hijab, or Zishan, you are there. Wallahi, you are the walking, talking backstabber. Your hate for us is greater than your love for Islam. And this don't mean I'm against this brother's take on the matter, but just to show this backstabber's true face. He said, your hate for us is greater than your love for Islam. Do you understand the implications of such a statement? Keep in mind, this was on somebody else's channel that had nothing to do with Ali Dawah. So then you might think, okay, we're gonna move on. But then next month, April 19th, Ali Dawah posts a video called Mufti Menk Caught on Camera. This video has 168,000 views. About 9 minutes into this video about Mufti Menk, Ali Dawah says this about me.
The very next day, it's as if somebody, these individuals, and literal opportunistic backstabbers, the guy didn't wait one day. He edited a video, recorded it, and released it attacking me. And not only attacking me, defending the guy that I've apparently slandered him, yeah? Now, these kind of individuals are backstabbers, opportunistic backstabbers. Who are these people? These are people who are waiting for your mistake. They are looking. How can I catch him? When can I catch him? Yeah? This is the approach they have. That's why I call them as opportunistic backstabbers. That's what they are. They have a disease in the heart. I'll tell you very categorically. These people hate you more than they hate enemies of Islam.
So anyways, I ignore it. I ignore him. I ignore the fact he still has this pinned to his Twitter profile. I move on with my life. But then last month, August 17th, I posted this video entitled Salman Rushdie, Condemn It You Muslim. In this video, I reacted to a video clip that went viral regarding our brother in Islam, Abdullah al-Andalusi, to which he made a very respectful response. I thought it was a very nice, beneficial dialogue between the two of us. But then Ali Dawah pops up again. He says, like Ibn Taymiyyah said, some people never see any good in anyone, just like a fly who always lands on feces. Once again, the backstabber attacks another du'at trying to defend Islam against its enemies. Abdullah Andalusi, you did great, akhi. And ever since then, it's just tweet after tweet, slander after slander coming from Ali Dawah. Meanwhile, Abdullah Andalusi, he said, I'd like it known any public expression of disagreement between myself and my brothers in deen is done respectfully and with love. Anyone has the full right to account me publicly for my public works or performance if they think I've said an untruth or I've set a bad example. Somebody replied saying, yeah, but he could have reached out to you in private or perhaps did. To which Abdullah al-Andalusi responded, not strictly necessary. The TV show I attended was public, so he has a right to account me publicly if he believes I did a mistake or didn't do something I should have. Allahumma barak, brothers and sisters, understand. It is from the religion of Islam. When something is done publicly, it can be addressed publicly. Sometimes it's obligatory to address it publicly. Abdullah al-Andalusi understands this. Look at the way he is dealing with this situation in comparison to how Ali Dawah is dealing with it. Being held accountable publicly for one's public behavior comes with being a public figure. Yet Ali Dawah comes and just does a complete onslaught of slander against me. I don't call him an opportunistic backstabber for a reason, sitting on his chair with zero Dawah experience, criticizing du'at. He makes a new pinned tweet about me that's still up right now. Du'at on the left going through hell to defend Islam and worn out. And ladies and gentlemen, on the right we have a unqualified backstabber who hasn't had one public discussion critiquing and attacking du'at in his room. facepalm, at Sajid Lipum. It's easy to look sharp when you haven't done any work. So during all this personal slander, somebody writes, honestly, if Sajid Lipum is working with some intelligence agency to disturb the unity of Dawah community online, they should give him a raise. So Ali Dawah quotes this, saying, we can't accuse him that, as it will be slander. But best believe this guy's hatred of Muslims is greater than his hate towards the enemies of Islam. Funniest part is, he has zero face-to-face experience and criticizes du'at in the field for years. And there are so many tweets like this, one after another after another. But in closing, I just want to address the reality of what he's saying. That I am an unqualified backstabber who hasn't done any work. I have zero face-to-face experience, sitting on his chair with zero dawah experience. And I didn't want to share what I'm about to say, but I was advised to mention the following because we should know about those who we are taking knowledge from. And this is really going to show that Ali Dawah, he's so blatantly slandering me. Meanwhile, there are people who are believing what he's saying. Other people are parroting this rhetoric. So regarding these accusations, I just want to say, I embraced Islam over 14 years ago. This was in 2008. This was before social media became what it is today, before like the smartphone craze. And during that time, I didn't even know any Muslims because I embraced Islam after reading an English translation of the Quran online. I come from a non-Muslim background. I come from a non-Muslim area. I didn't know any Muslims. So immediately, when I found that Islam was the truth, I was giving da'wah to everyone around me because I was aware of the fact that they didn't know about Islam. And I also felt like it was obligatory for me to share this with them. I know the truth. How dare I be amongst all these people who don't know the truth, and I don't even tell them. So I changed my name to Sajid. I would order boxes of English translations of the Quran to go out and distribute in public. I started wearing a thobe with a ghutra or a turban everywhere I went. In 2009, I became a substitute teacher working at the different elementary, middle, and high schools where I grew up. And as a substitute teacher, I would still wear a thobe. I would talk to any and everybody face to face about Islam. I was invited to come and give talks to high school students about Islam. Then I moved to Chicago to work for the Al Furqan Foundation, which is a non-profit dawah organization. And the only reason I stopped working there was because, alhamdulillah, I was accepted to go and study at the Islamic University of Medina. So then I went to Medina to study for 8 years, and I specialized in da'wah. I graduated from the College of Da'wah wa Usul ad-Din. In 2019, I came back to the United States. I became an imam at a small masjid. I began teaching Quran, Arabic, and Islamic studies at an Islamic school. And I founded Institute Academy, where I teach courses and I collaborate with other students of knowledge to teach Islam. Oh, and I almost forgot, during my time in Medina, I started a YouTube channel dedicated to giving da'wah. It's reached a point where I've had Christians come up to me publicly when I'm just out and about shopping, trying to debate me. May Allah give us sincerity and guidance and accept from us. You know, I wake up in the morning, I go on Twitter, and I'm met with all of these lies and slanders about me coming from Ali Dawah. I don't feel like dealing with it anymore. I don't want to go back and forth. I barely went back and forth with him regarding any of this anyways. But for anybody who thinks he's speaking the truth, I just want to say he has repeatedly lied about me. He has repeatedly misrepresented me. Inshallah, if he continues to personally slander me, I'm just going to ignore it. However, this does not give him a free pass to misrepresent the religion. Misrepresenting me is one thing, misrepresenting Islam is something completely different, and that's inexcusable. I almost forgot to mention, many people, I imagine, they're going to say, Sajid, you and Ali Dawah, you need to just talk privately. Talk it out to each other in private. You'll solve all your problems. If you need to, get somebody to intermediate between the two of you. So please, let me clarify all of this. I have been talking to Ali Dawah privately the entire time. We've had each other's numbers for years. People have already tried to mediate between us. Things have only gotten worse. I know this might be difficult for some people to hear and to believe. But at the end of the day, don't attach yourself to me, don't attach yourself to Ali Dawah, attach yourself to Allah, attach yourself to the Quran and Sunnah. Allah knows best. JazakumAllahukhairan. May Allah save all of us from this situation. May Allah guide us to what's best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.